if you go back, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna say one album, Play Made Mexicans. Go look at the album and go look at the artist on the album, and it says presented by SPM. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Buenos dias. Welcome back to another episode of GCTV, and you already know we're gonna get it in a menudo style, a direct fashion. But before we do, let's hit the notification bells, put them on all, and hit that like and subscribe button. That way you're subscribed to all the dope content I'm bringing. Now, what I wanted to talk about was something that I seen on the He Said, She Said list, meaning on the shorts, the YouTube shorts, something that popped up in my feed. And I felt that if for no other reason, I should address it, because there's a lot of different angles being taken with the way Goldtoes presented the conversation. So I guess Goldtoes sat down with American Cholo, man, and he did a little podcast, and he was interviewed. And of course, he has, when you interview someone like that, someone of that caliber, man, you ask the right questions, you're going to get the right answer. Sometimes you ask a question and you're going to get an answer that you didn't even expect. And in this case, it seems like American Cholo was able to dig deep into the trenches, man, and get a question answered that not many people had hit on. Not many people had their antennas weren't raised. Put it like that. They weren't alerted to the situation. Now, we all know about the beef between South Park Mexican, SPM, and of course, Mr. Capone. The individual Mr. Capone, man, has some type of animosity. He feels some type of way about South Park Mexican, and there's a lot of us that do. I myself included. Anyone, man, that gets locked up on child molestation charges, allegedly, or facts, people tend to shy away from that individual. It's just the way it is. That's the moral of a man. We don't want nothing to do with them cats. But there's always been, two sides to every story. There's always been a lot of different angles when it comes to the story of SPM and exactly why he's incarcerated. There's people that have talked about government issue. There's people that have talked about, they were trying to shut him down because he was doing a little too much. There's people talking about it was a personal agenda between a woman and him. It was a money situation. We've heard every different aspect of the story, but the fact remains that guy's been incarcerated for 20 plus years and he's still sitting down. Now, I've heard that he might be coming home pretty soon. He might be getting a breath of fresh air? Is that how you say it? He might be getting his breath of fresh air on, man. And it is what it is. We'll have to see exactly what happens when that man touches down. There's a lot of people that done talked a lot of shit, me included, since he's been incarcerated because of the case that he caught. Now, it's going to happen, man. If you catch a bad case, man, there's always going to be the individuals that are behind the scenes or right on the front line, speaking the way they speak and feeling the way they feel. Well, Mr. Capone has definitely been a proponent for speaking whole lot of shit. But during this interview with Goldtoes, man, a good valid point was brought up. A lot of these rappers that talk this high power shit about, you see how I did that? High power? That talk this high power shit about SPM and feel some type of way about him, were once rocking with them. Now, I understand prior to him catching these cases, there was a lot of rappers just trying to get in the game, man. And this guy was already doing it. Dope House Records was already on the scene. They were making a lot of noise in Texas, making a lot of noise in the southwestern states. People in California were bumping us. Shut up. Stop it. You was bumping SPM. Everybody was bumping SPM. And representing, because he was representing as a South Park Mexicano for the Mexican gente, for the people, the Chicanos, the Mexicans. Everybody was feeling this individual because he has talent. But even more so than that, man, he was one of the only ones at that particular time putting on for his people. So everybody was backing his play, and everybody knew that was a way to get in to the music scene. That was a way to get in the door. So, of course, there was a lot of individuals that were supporting his talents. There was a lot of individuals that were fucking with him. Goldtoes being one of them at that particular time. Now, when this guy got caught up in the case, a lot of people chose to not believe the situation. See, in the beginning, people don't remember, but let's take it back. Let's take it back to when he first got incarcerated. He first caught this case. I distinctly remember a whole bunch of people rocking free SPM shirts. A whole lot of people in the streets, man, rallying and rioting for this individual. A lot of people saying there's no way he didn't do that. It's all frivolous. It's all fucking wordplay. It's all bullshit. There's no way that he went that route. And then quietly as it's kept, slowly but surely, as the case got uglier and uglier and paperwork got distributed, then people's whole narrative changed. People changed with their ways of thinking. Then all of a sudden, it was throw SPM under the bus. Then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, I can't fuck with that guy because of this and because of that. albeit that they were fucking with them at one particular point in time. I understand the situation. You know, it's always going to be something that you don't want to speak about, or it's going to be an elephant in the room. And a lot of people would rather just get away from that whole situation and back on up like a crawdad, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be caught up in what he's got going on. That's understandable. You know, they say a real camarada, a real friend will stand by you through thick and thin, homie. Well, that's very, very fucking thin and flimsy. And these are the situations as a man, you just can't stand by someone. Now, I've talked about Goldtoes in the past, you know, him being, cool or close with this individual, being close with the family, having a strong affiliation with Dope House Records at that particular time, because you got to understand, Goldtoes was putting on for Northern California rappers at the same time that SPM was doing his thing in Texas. So there was some type of correlation there. There was some type of respect amongst each other. But as I've seen it from an outsider looking in, I see that Goldtoes backed up off of him and went his own way, man. Continued to do his own thing. Of course, he's stationed out there in Houston, man, doing his GT digital thing, distributing, man, putting a whole bunch of young rappers on, North and South, because it never was Northern California and black. It was black and brown. So it was always together, man. And he's a good proponent of that. You know, from what I heard, just from the meantime, in between time, and through a little birdie on the block, you know, I heard Goldtoes has a strong family presence in Los Angeles. I heard that he has a lot of family members in LA, and someone must have been able to pull a few strings or make a few waves, man, to get that guy plugged in, man. He's tapped in with someone real heavy out there, and he definitely put paint where it wasn't. And, one thing I can say for sure is that guy right there is putting on for everyone, man, and it's respected. Now, you know, there's been a lot of people that have put shit on his name or talk bad about him, that he supports SPM. From everything I've seen and everything I've heard, man, he definitely wants to have a conversation with that man. He's definitely got things that he needs to get off his chest and explore that conversation. But as far as him supporting him and as far as all that happening, I don't think that's the case. I think truly he just wants to let a man be a man. Let a man answer for his own crimes. Let him answer fucking lay in his own bed, you know? You can't expect someone who once rocked close with the guy to believe everything he's heard or everything he's read, man. I'm sure he has questions that he's asked and answered. But anyways, he's over here on American Cholo, man, and he's doing this interview. And we all know that Mr. Capone went in for about a year straight, video after video, simultaneously going in. Him, other rappers were going in on SPM. They brought it back up. You know, SPM has been sitting down for a very long time, and there's been a lot of people that just forgot about him, didn't say his name, and then there's a lot of people that have continuously supported him because they don't believe the bullshit that he's locked up for. But that's neither here nor there. Whatever he's locked up for, man, he's going to have to face his maker. He's going to have to face the repercussions for his actions. And of course, man, if it was all bullshit and that's really not what happened, then I'm sure the truth will come out. But it's been a whole long time coming. That's it. Straight up. I'm just saying. But when he gets out, he'll have his chance to speak his piece. You know, I'm sure a lot of these podcasts that have talked shit in the past or woofed about him or say that they don't support child molesters will be the first ones knocking at his fucking door, eager to give him an interview. Who's the first one? The wind's going to blow. There's going to be a lot of individuals, man, that are going to be quick to want to sit down with him and hear him speak, just because of his popularity and because they know it's going to gain him attention, clout, and a lot of views. And that's a fact. That's how dirty this game is. People will support people that they shouldn't because it's in their best. It's doing good for them. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, you have to deal with the repercussions for your action. You're going to have to deal with whatever comes that way because of that. So I'm sure there's a lot of people already lining up at his doorstep to get that first interview. And it's going to happen, homie. It's going to happen. A lot of these guys that are sitting here talking all that shit that they don't fuck with them, they don't support them, homes, they can never do that. They'll never will. It ain't going to never happen. They're solid, active, this and that. They're going to be the first motherfuckers with him on his podcast. He's going to be podcast hopping, homie. I guarantee he's going to make his wave around a lot of people. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to do it because I truly believe there are some individuals, man, that just ain't going to do that, ain't going to sit down with a cat of that character. But there's cats from down south that won't sit down with norteños, but will sit down with guys like that. And there's guys from up north that won't sit down with sureños, but will sit down with guys like that. That's funny style to me. But that's just what I've always thought. I'm not sitting down with them. Fuck him. That's how I feel. But at the same time, I'm not going to continuously go in on this man because it is what it is. Holmes, I said it a long time ago. You know, let the paperwork tell the tale. I'm in no position to sit here and clown and ridicule this guy. You know what I mean? I got my own bullshit going on, man. I ain't got to worry about what he's got. It ain't nothing like that, though. It ain't no child molestation shit. But that's on him. So, when Goldtoes is sitting down, gente, he says that there's an album. And you see the thumbnail called Player Made Mexicans. South Park Mexican presents Player Made Mexicans. Lucky Luciano, of course. Baby Bish, Baby Bash, whatever you want to call them. And there were several artists, northern rappers and southern rappers, that were actually on that album. Now, this is after he was already incarcerated on these bad charges. This is after he already caught that case. This is after everybody was already feeling some type of way and talking a whole lot of gang shit about him. This is after, you know, he was actually convicted. This album came out years later, and there was still a lot of people on that album. Now, it makes no sense to Wolf because Mr. Capone, Mr. Criminal, individuals like this were on that album. Now, one thing I will say is this, and these are facts. Sometimes you drop a track, sometimes you drop lyrics when you're in the rap game. I ain't in the rap game like that, but I know a little bit about a lot of it, right? Sometimes you do a song with the Goldtoes, and then, you know, I mean, it belongs to him. You just help the homeboy out, or you just, you know, drop some fucking lyrics on a track and whatever it was, you guys dropped the track together, and then they used that for a compilation. Now, this, of course, was a compilation. So this compilation, this song with Mr. Criminal, Mr. Capone, individuals that are very well known to not support SPM, somehow that it made its way onto that album. Now, I don't know how it made its way onto that album and why there was no copyright or there was no, hey, get me the fuck up off that album. I don't support that chomo. But it definitely made its way onto the album, and it was swept under the rug. For many years, people didn't even think about it. You know, there's so many compilations that come out, you know, with a lot of rappers, and people don't pay attention to it because either it fucking sucked verga, or at the same time, man, no one really cares. No one's really tripping. Music is music, right? But now, with this podcasting era going on, with this era of rappers and actors and comedians and all different ex-gang members and current gang members starting to podcast and starting to use social media as platforms to voice their opinions on something, then you have to stick to the grind and the grain, right? You have to stick to what you believe in. So a lot of these people like Capone, Criminal, and so many others that are disrespecting South Park Mexican, myself included, fuck him, I still said it, and I ain't on his album, and I never will be, that have something to say about him, you know, they definitely need to be looked at, you know, as of, what is it, homie? Are you going to answer for your qualms? Are you going to answer for your frivolous wordplay? Are you going to answer for the bullshit? Because if you're feeling some type of way about this man and you're a proponent for fuck these chumos and fuck all these individuals that get caught up on these bad cases or these non-actives or these dropouts or these degenerates or whatever it is, I've heard so many of these guys speak on, but now all of a sudden you come up on an album with them. It's not all of a sudden, it's been done that. What Goldtoes merely put out there, and he just said it in so many words like a smooth criminal like he is, man. He didn't necessarily say, it wasn't trying to disrespect these guys. That's not the route that dude goes. That's why I support Goldtoes in all his moves, because he's a thinker, homie. He thinks about what he says before he says it. And the way he put it out there real smooth was like, I'm going to let you go ahead and figure that out, homie. I'm going to let you, American Cholo, go ahead and figure out that situation. Now, one thing I do have in common with American Cholo, and this is a fact, man, is that we are both not supporters of SPM. He has voiced his opinion many a times that he doesn't support that guy. But he is also an advocate for let's keep it real, right? And I'm an advocate for the same thing. Let's keep it real. Let that man speak his piece. Now, I've heard Goldtoes say it many a times. Hey, homie, when people ask me, hey, you support that dude, you support that dude. Who says he supports that dude, homie? Let that motherfucker get out and talk about what he's got to talk about, homies. I'm sure they will have a conversation and talk about what they need to talk about as grown men, and we don't need to involve ourselves in that. But let's talk about Mr. Capone, who said a lot of fucking bad negative words when it comes to SPM. Let's talk about Mr. Criminal, who said a lot of bad words when it comes to SPM being on an album with him. You know, SPM presents. That means you worked up under that man. That means you were up under that dope house label. That means at some point in time within your career, homie, you supported that after he was already convicted of a child molestation charge. I'm just saying, though, it's an ugly situation. Now, I'm not here to disrespect them, guys. I'm sure there's a fucking very, very, very good answer for these questions. I'm sure there's a very good excuse for the reasons why. You know, and I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, because who am I to judge anyone? But at the same time, gente, raza, you know, we sit here and we're taught and we speak on certain things, you know, and nobody supports chomos. Nobody wants to get involved in that. But nobody does their due diligence and their homework. You know, I've sat down and went over numerous pieces of paperwork concerning SPM. I've talked to numerous guys from Texas. I talked to numerous guys that were in Dope House Records, people that fucked with him. And I understand that a lot of people feel a certain way, you know. You're going to support who you support. I remember we had a homie from my neighborhood, man. We knew a motherfucking for a fact he didn't do what they accused him of doing, but eventually, man, he did ultimately get convicted. Now, still in the hood, in the world's eyes, homie, he's looked at as a piece of cagada. But in our eyes, we already know, homie, the homie didn't do that. The chick fucking lied. But that's the way the world works, homies. It doesn't matter what I say or what the homie says from the audio. All that matters is what paperwork says and what the people perceive to be perception and real. I'm sorry, Spencer, homes. That's the part of the game. Now, I understand that Capone has been talking a lot of high power shit, disrespecting SPM on numerous occasions when he was once a supporter. You know, he was once a free SPM guy, but then eventually because he was coming, and I understand, hey, you're innocent until proven guilty. Vatos are fucking following the law all of a sudden, huh? And when he was fighting his case, yeah, support him, free him. Oh, he got found guilty. Fuck him, right? We've seen how it all played out last year, man. I did several videos on it, this beef. And of course, you know, SPM did his little diss track and let everyone know he will be touching down and he's still the king of Texas. He's still going to represent for the Mexicano people or whatever. That's his story. I'll let him tell it. As far as Capone goes, I've never had any problems or I've never tripped off that dude like that, you know? But one thing I can say for sure is he's got a lot of answers now. Ever since Goldtoes went on this this podcast, American Cholo, and said, you know, hey, I'll let you figure it out, homes. Player may make, and look it. I'm not here to shit on the Southern California rappers' names because that's not what it's all about. There were Northern California rappers all throughout that motherfucker, right? There's a lot of guys that say that they don't fuck with these guys that did. That's just it, cut and dry. There's no way to fucking work around it, homie. I'm sure there's going to be answers, but there's no way to work around it. Individuals did songs on this Vatos compilation after he was convicted of being a chomo. Straight up facts. It is what it is. Now, I know a lot of people go back and forth with it. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they didn't know, or he didn't know, or she didn't know. The truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't matter what SPM says, man. All that matters is how you feel, gente. You know, a lot of us support who we're going to support. Let's keep it real. You want to keep it fucking real? Tell me right now, when a fucking R. Kelly song doesn't come on, y'all motherfuckers don't bump it. You might, oh no, homie, I changed that shit. Charlie, Honey Love comes on. There's something in your eyes, babe. It's telling me you're bumping. You know, I don't see nothing wrong. You might not put it on that track, but you're not fast forwarding. Let's keep it real, man. There's a lot of, well, it's music, homie. You got to separate music from the bullshit. Well, you got to separate fucking YouTube from the bullshit, que no? But it's not going to go that way, man. Everyone's going to pick and choose. We're in a world of pickers and choosers. People that pick and choose to fuck with who they want to fuck with. You know, it's weird, man. I never got it, you know. I never got Northern California people that won't bump Southern California rap, but they'll bump fucking rappers like Ice Cube and Dr. Dre from Southern California. And the vice versa. I never got Vatos from down south that would never fucking bump Woody, homie. But they'll definitely bump fucking JT, the bigger figure who fucked Reels quite extensively with Woody. It's just weird to me the way that the game is played, man. There's no fucking, oh, I'm gonna fuck, there's a way, there's a loop around it. There is no loops around this shit. This ain't taxes. That's it. You're not doing your taxes. There's no loopholes. It is what it is, or it is what it ain't. And that's facts. Anyways, man, I think Goldtoes brought up a good thing to speak on, you know. He didn't quite say it in a disrespectful manner because that's not his forte or his stilo. You know, his stilo has always been about the progression of the people, the brown people, black and brown. But at the same time, it is out there now. And let's see exactly what these Vatos have to say. No disrespect intended to no one. I know you guys are going to get mad at me. Hey, why are you listening to that dropout fucking talk shit? You know what I mean? He's no good, man. Oh, well, check it out, homie. You know what I mean? I wasn't on an album with the Chomo. I didn't say it like that and in that fashion. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose, get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the struggle to strive and that strive to struggle. There is no disrespect intended with my verbalizations. It's only real, man. I'm about to put some pay where it ain't and keep it as kosher as I can, like a dill pickle. Let's snap into it like a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah, because the fact remains, man, that there's a lot of questions to be answered. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect no one. Who gives a fuck? You either listen to the Vatos music or you don't. You either support him or you don't. It's up to you, man. You have the freedoms and liberties to do what you want. But don't sit here and talk a whole lot of shit, homes, and then be fucking rapping. Buy up, buy up, buy up. Nah, that shit don't work. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and struggle and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in. And that's give it to you real, the facts, telling you true life. And you know, at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. This is the gun. Bang, bang.